What's up, everybody? So, one thing I have told you in the past was how, the noises and stuff about like loud noises and how I don't like them. Well, this kind of relates to that in some way that, something I kind of else used to be afraid of, which was thunderstorms. And, usually I would not do pretty well with thunderstorms. Like, I did not like thunderstorms at all. I would get, if I was like outside or something, I would get nervous whenever I heard thunder and like, run into the house, I guess, kind of thing, because I did not like the sound of the thunder, especially if it was like a really loud, big boom kind of a thunder, you know, and yeah, I wouldn't like it if, yeah, if I heard thunder, I would probably immediately, I wouldn't like it. I would be scared whenever I heard thunder. Now, we know most kids are scared of thunder. No kid likes thunder, but, for this, it's actually gotten, my fear of thunder was so, I guess, great at the time, or my fear of thunderstorms was so great at the time that I would actually run into the basement whenever there was a thunderstorm and just hang out in the basement till the storm was over. Because I didn't like, hearing the thunder and even seeing the lightning. Seeing the lightning was something I didn't really like, the big flash of lightning. I didn't like seeing lightning either. Like, I just didn't like storms. Storms are just something that scared me in kind of another way. Like, I just didn't like the big loud boom of the thunder, the big flash of the lightning. And that's why, I would run down to the basement and hang out there until the storm was over. Now, I was probably 10 or 11 when this happened, whenever I would, the storms would come. So I was slightly older, not like a really little kid, but still, I was still younger in my younger years. And, that's something that still, was a kind of a child, I guess, something that, I eventually grew out of, but still, it happened to me when I was a kid. And yeah, I never liked storms. Storms always scared me. The thunder scared me, the lightning scared me. Uh, you know, it was just something that, I didn't, they didn't make me feel safe. Like, they made me feel very unsafe. With the big loud booms of thunder and the big flashes of lightning. It's just something that didn't make me feel safe. So that's why I ran down into the basement, I guess, is so I could feel safe down there, until the storm passed, kind of a thing. Yeah, it was just kind of this feeling where I felt like I felt unsafe, on, being on the normal level, I guess. And yeah, just kind of being, on the main level during a storm, and it just made me feel unsafe. And, like I said, that's why I ran into the basement and just hung out in the basement because I felt, the basement down there, it's under the ground, which some basements are. That's why they're called basements. You may have an underground basement. Sometimes people have walk in, walk out basements, but ours is underground. Or I think it's mostly underground, maybe just a little bit of it. Like, we have a few, or not a few, a couple windows down there that you can see kind of from, the back. You can see a little bit of the outside and stuff, like the backyard. Excuse me, but still, the basement was kind of my safe place whenever storms like that would occur. And as soon as I heard that thunder or saw that lightning, I'm like, oh, I'm going down into the basement. It's even happened where if there was a storm in the middle of the night, like while I was sleeping, and if I heard a storm in the middle of the night, I would do the same thing. I would get up from in the middle of the night and go down into the basement where I would feel safe. Yes, even in the middle of the night, I would do that because I couldn't sleep because of the storm and I was scared of the storm. And like I said, I felt unsafe and that kind of stuff. So that's what I would do. Middle of the night. It could be like 3 a.m. or something. Ran right down into the basement and just hung out in the basement for a little while until either the storm has calmed down or completely passed. One thing I used to do to kind of, you know, if a storm was happening in the middle of the night, was I used to, like, instead of running down into the basement, like, at 3 a.m. or whatever, I would, like, grab some, headphones or something. And although it wasn't the most comfortable, I would sleep with the headphones on, during a storm, and I would have my eye mask on because, that way the thunder was not as loud or the flash of lightning was not as bright. Uh, so and that kind of made me feel, a little bit more safe in, hearing it like more quieter or more muffled and not being able to see the big flashes of lightning because I had an eye mask on because I sleep with eye masks every night. So I guess that eye mask, it definitely came in handy when there were storms and it even still does now. Even though I'm not as scared of, I'm not really scared of storms that much anymore. We'll get to that in a minute. But yeah, that's what I would do is I would take these headphones and put them on and sleep with them on to block, help, muffle the sound of the thunder more so that it would make me feel more safe kind of thing. Like I knew that, we weren't in like danger or anything because, if you're inside during a storm, you're pretty safe. You're usually, you're safe inside during a storm. You're usually safe inside. You just got to get inside somewhere and you're safe. But it's just that, like I said, the big booms and the big flashes are what made me feel not so safe. And that's why I'd run into the basement to feel more safe. But then I thought I could maybe help the problem by, using that eye mask and putting on, headphones while I sleep. Now, sleeping with the headphones wasn't real comfortable, but I had to do what I had to do, just to keep sleeping through the night instead of getting up in the middle of the night to go down to into the basement. And they seemed to work. And except they kind of were these headphones that kind of pressed up against my head, and it was a little bit uncomfortable. My head would be a little sore from that, but despite that, I think that they really worked. And I think it really did help. So if it's just a regular, boom of thunder, it's fine, but sometimes, I still don't like the big loud booms of thunder. Like if there was a huge flash of lightning that caused a huge boom of thunder. Sometimes that can make me feel a little bit unnerved. But I don't run and hide and go into the basement like I used to. Like I'll stay on the main level or come up to my room or whatever during thunderstorms now. Because, I feel like I don't, need to hide in the basement anymore because I've learned, I've kind of grown out of the fear of the storms. And sometimes storms can be relaxing, especially if they happen like at night. And you just hear hear the sound of a storm at night. Sometimes they can actually be relaxing and help me sleep. So yeah, nowadays I tend to not mind storms really as much. Whenever I hear like a storm, I'm just kind of like, oh, whatever. It's just something that doesn't really bother me like it used to. And, I think what helped me realize that is that, that I guess during the storm, there was really nothing to be afraid of, and that I didn't need to run and hide into the basement. And I could come and stay on the main level or come up to the second level instead of having to hide in the basement until the storm rided out. Rided? Did I say rided? Okay, that sounded weird. Until the storm rode out, kind of. I don't know if that's how you say rode out, ride it out, whatever. Anyway, And I guess, I think when I've stayed up here, more during storms, staying on the main level and not running and hiding into the basement, it made me realize that, we're safe inside the house. As long as we're in the house, we're safe. And, as long as in so, I just being in the house now just makes me feel safe from storms. I don't like being outside now during storms, but then again, who does? And it's probably not the safest option to go outside during a storm. You always want to stay inside and be safe until the storm passes. But I think I, realized that the thunder and the lightning aren't that bad. And they just, even though they can be frightening at times, they're really not that bad. And I guess just, seeing them and seeing it and hearing it more and just being on the main level of the house more kind of made me not as afraid of it as I was, and it helped me to actually like storms because now I actually like storms. Storms I think are relaxing and, they're just kind of something that it's just something, that I like to hear and see and, something that I actually enjoy now. A nice something I actually enjoy, like during the spring or summer, a nice storm, kind of maybe might roll through, and it's just something kind of relaxing and kind of cool to see and all that. And the smell outside after the storm, you can smell the rain and stuff. The rain has a nice smell after the storm. So yeah, I'm not really scared of storms anymore, even though the thunder and the lightning can sometimes, if depending on how loud the thunder or the thunder is or the flash of lightning is, it you know it might make me a little bit unnerved. But I guess that's normal for anybody. But now I actually don't mind storms, and sometimes I actually enjoy looking at storms passing through. If you're on the spectrum and you're watching this, leave a comment down below if you were or are still scared of storms. And that's going to be it for today, everybody. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this, make sure to like, subscribe, comment, and share. And I will see you guys next time. Bye.